Welcome to today's explainer. You know that feeling, right? Staring at a blinking cursor, just totally paralyzed by the dread of having to write a cover letter? Well, you're definitely not alone. We all know that sinking feeling. But today, we're going to flip the script and turn that daunting blank page into a highly persuasive tool. We're treating this explainer like a masterclass, pulling directly from our source material to demystify the entire process for you. Okay, let's take a quick look at our agenda for today. We're going to cover the purpose of a cover letter, the 3-paragraph formula, tailoring as your secret weapon, a real-world case study, the so what test, and finally, overcoming the experience gap. All right, let's jump right in.
Section 1. The purpose of a cover letter and really why it even matters in the first place.
So, I want you to completely shift how you think about this. Think of your resume as just the facts, a strict inventory of what you've achieved. But the cover letter? That is where the actual conversation happens. It bridges the gap. It takes all those dry facts and basically says to the employer, hey, here's why what I've done actually matters to you. It introduces the real human behind the application and proves you can communicate effectively, which is absolutely crucial in pretty much any job.
Moving on to Section 2. The 3-paragraph formula, giving us a super clear structure to work with.
If the sheer idea of writing this stresses you out, don't worry. This 3-step blueprint literally takes all the guesswork out of it. Step 1 is your opening. You just state the position, how you found out about it, and drop in a hook, like your absolute strongest qualification. Step 2 is the body. This is where you connect your specific experiences right to their requirements. Remember, do not just regurgitate your resume here. And step 3 is the closing. State how enthusiastic you are, mention your resumes attached, and give them your availability. Boom, that's the whole shebang.
Now, here's the fundamental connection you might not have realized. The logic of a cover letter is basically, here is what you need and here is why I fit. That is exactly the same logic as writing a persuasive essay. Here is my thesis and here is my evidence. Honestly, if you know how to write a standard persuasive school essay, you already possess the exact skills you need to knock a cover letter out of the park.
All right, Section 3, tailoring, your absolute secret weapon for customizing your letter.
The crucial thing to understand here is that tailoring actually proves to the employer that you read their job description. It shows you get what they need, and you've thought deeply about how your specific background solves their exact problem. And guys, the stakes are pretty high here. Generic letters, they usually go straight in the trash. Tailored letters are what actually get you interviews.
The process itself is wonderfully straightforward. First, you read the description carefully. Second, highlight the key qualifications. Third, match your experience to those needs. And finally, write about that match. But listen to me on this one. Do not skip step 2. Actually highlighting the employer's stated needs, like the skills they value most, is the absolute foundation of this entire strategy. When we compare these two openings side by side, it's so obvious why tailoring matters. Look at the generic one. To whom it may concern, I am a hard worker. It could be sent to anyone, anywhere, which means it really speaks to no one. Now look at the Taylor version. It names a specific hiring manager, Miss Okonkwo. It identifies the exact role, summer marketing intern, and instantly highlights a relevant passion for visual storytelling. Taking just 5 extra minutes to do this makes your letter 10 times more effective. No exaggeration.
Section 4. Let's look at a real-world case study. Maria's cover letter.
Maria's letter is honestly a masterpiece because she hits every single one of these points perfectly. She explicitly connects her role in student government to the job's need for content creation and teamwork. She even tosses in a professional extra, a HubSpot content marketing certification. That completely transforms her from just a generic high school junior into a truly undeniable asset. Let's zoom in on the evidence she brings to the table.
Instead of just claiming she manages social media, because let's face it, anyone can say that, Maria proves it with hard data. She states that she personally created and scheduled over 200 posts across Instagram and Twitter.
And she doesn't stop there. She immediately follows up by demonstrating scale. She wasn't just posting into the void. She built an actual audience, growing the school's follower count from 340 to over 1,800 in just 18 months. That is huge.
Then she takes it a step further and translates those followers into a real-world financial impact. She highlights that her specific social media campaign for an annual charity drive directly helped raise $4,200.
Finally, she puts a bow on that achievement by noting it was a massive 60% increase over the previous year. This rapid-fire use of specific, escalating data points, it's exactly what employers are looking for.
Evidence is always going to beat a generic assertion.
All right, Section 5, the so what test and how to use it to refine your draft.
Okay, before we get to the test itself, we've got to talk about the most common mistake applicants make, just writing out a paragraph version of their resume. You have to remember, they already have your resume. They do not need another list. You want to use this space to tell the actual story behind your best qualifications. Pick 2 or 3 standout moments and really expand on them.
So here is the test. After every single sentence you write, you need to ask yourself one incredibly blunt question. So what? Think about it. If you write, I am a hard worker, the hiring manager is probably just rolling their eyes thinking, okay, so what? Literally everyone says that. It carries absolutely 0 weight.
But if you replace that vague claim with a specific, evidence-backed statement, like say, I managed a team of 5 volunteers to organize a community cleanup that collected 800 pounds of litter, the impact is undeniable. The person reading that immediately thinks, wow, okay, this person actually gets things done. You've answered the so what by providing undeniable proof of your capabilities.
Which brings us to our final section, number 6, overcoming the experience gap and validating your skills. Look, for students and recent grads, the biggest elephant in the room is that paralyzing fear of having no experience. But what I find incredibly empowering about our source material here is how it completely redefines what experience actually is. If you're sitting there thinking you have nothing to write about, just look at these categories. The text validates all these everyday responsibilities as highly relevant experience. You just need to know how to frame them. Managing the family's bills? That requires organization and budgeting. Helping younger siblings with homework? That's patience and communication right there. Running a small personal project? That shows incredible initiative. Believe me, it all counts.
And with that, we've wrapped up our breakdown. You've got the structure, you understand the secret weapon of tailoring, and you know exactly how to leverage that so what test using concrete evidence. So I want to leave you with this final thought. How are you going to turn your unique experiences, whether they're from a classroom, a community project, or literally your own living room, into a compelling conversation with your next employer? It is time to stop staring at that blank page. Recognize your own unique value and start writing that conversation today. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.